The lust to control other human beings is a story as old as time. There's a very strong drift in the direction of globalization, of the ultimate centralization of control in the hands of unelected officials at supranational organizations.
They want all of the resources of the world in their pocket.
The bigger picture is that an attempt is underway now to collapse liberal democracy and replace it with global technocracy.
This is a coup. They're saying we can control with rules. We don't need currency anymore.
It's like an inverted prison. You are supposedly free to roam about, but everything you want to access is behind lock and key.
The potential for social control is gigantic and potentially irreversible.
They plan to commandeer land, reduce farming, and radically change the food we eat, transform the supply of electricity, and then dictate how we use it, and replace currency with a system of credits. All three strategies are built on the premise of a climate crisis caused by carbon dioxide.
I do not think there's a climate crisis, and I base that on all the evidence and the climate data sets that we build to answer questions just like that. The government is very clear that they want a catastrophic story.
There is no single science paper that proves conclusively that humans control all or most of the global climate.
Europe's mad dash towards net zero is effectively economic suicide. Politicians are purposely impoverishing ordinary people, purposely deindustrializing Europe.
It's just tremendous amount of damage in the name of saving the planet. It does make you ask, what is it we're actually saving if we're paving it over?
I think what we're dealing with here is actually a global war on agriculture.
When you look at how many farms are selling up, we're walking into food shortages.
If I can switch everybody from real food to pharma food, then 100% of the agriculture industry can go through my publicly traded stocks, and I have complete control.
This is the biggest public relations scam in the history of the world. But it's far more than that. It's a blueprint. It is the action plan.
All life on Earth is going to be radically changed.
Everything will be monitored. The environmental consequences of every human action.
The general population cannot fathom the psychopathy of the vision that they're facing.
Once the digital ID is in place, it's game over for humanity.
It's almost as if the pandemic back in 2020 was like the CFL. Now, if you don't know what the CFL is, that's Canada's attempt at professional football. It's slightly higher than high school football, definitely not as high as college football in the States, but you know, it's Canada giving it a shot. A lot of the second stringers, so to speak, are used car salesmen in the off season. So like they don't even pay them enough to really sustain a professional athletic career. But anyway, the COVID was the CFL's. We have a Grey Cup, it's called. It was the Grey Cup of PsyOps, right? So they're like, we won't really, what we're going to do is we're going to see what happens, you know, see where the chips fall. And from there, it's you have a bunch of Dr. Dre's and M&M's up in the booths, just like taking notes. Will they walk arrows through grocery stores? Check. Will they put anything we say into their arms? Check. Will they put anything we say into their children's arms? Check. Okay. All right, well, let's wrap it up. But we're not done the game. Who cares? No one cares about CFL games anyway, so they just end it. And then all of a sudden it disappears. I would say that right now, this is more dire because, you know, I put these videos out. They're bummers, right? They're not good for engagement or, you know, make people happy or whatever. But I just want to be on the right. When all the shit hits the fan, at least I can go back and in my prison and say, oh, you know, I've been warning people about this. Didn't do anything anyway. But we are up against something even more dark because we know it, right? So the difference between now and COVID is that we weren't really sure what the hell was going on. Oh, Duke's playing Fortnite, probably losing. And so not knowing what we're going on, you're little more apt to go with the flow to a certain degree because it's like it's the Mario Brothers song, of anxiety and stress. You don't know where you are. Now we full blown know what they're capable of, which is anything. What they want to do is, imprison everybody into a little digital prison. We know what's coming. Now the question is, what do we do? And I've been wrapping my head around this and, holding out through the digital ID. I don't know if you can do it. So back in COVID, you could hold out, pull the kids out of school, sit there in your house, huddle in place. And then eventually it kind of went away and you can come out again, and the arrows are gone. To this day, there's some grocery stores I go to, they still have the plastic thing up. And I always say, thank God for this plastic thing keeping you safe behind that till. They don't know what to do. They don't speak English anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But now, as it comes down with the digital ID, like to huddle in place, so to speak, is almost impossible because it'll be attached to your driver's license, your bank account. Like, to a certain degree, Bitcoin offers an escape route, but then again, it will paint itself into a peer-to-peer, the internet, right? So let's say you see that in Australia right now, where this is for. So, like I always say, as soon as they say it's for the children, that's your first red flag, right? That's how they get you, because we hardline the safety of the children. We do, not they do. They don't care about your kids, right? We care about our kids. And they hardline it for you. It's like, hey, it's for you want to protect your children from all these internet bullies, right? I guess all right. So, but it really is. Everything is inverted. So when they say it's for 16 under, it's really for 16 over. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Everything they say it's for, it's the opposite. And as long as you live that way, everything's pretty easy to understand and digest. But there's a lot of NPC retards out there that they don't know any better, and they're just designed to fear. Their whole life they've been designed to fear, right? So when fear comes down the pipe, and it's for the safety of the children, don't you know? They're like, sign me up, right? And it'll be instant. So once that happens, how do you get on the internet to do a peer-to-peer transaction, so to speak, over what? I guess we'll have to find other ways to do it. I'm racking my brain here trying to figure it out. Like, we even have some even more ghastly aspects coming down the pipe, like cloned fake meat is in Canada now. They have it where they don't have to label it. And your product is unbelievable when you don't put the label on. It's like, geez, if we say this is, this is cloned meat, how can we massage that? Get Eddie Bernays from the grave. We need him to kind of dial this into the public. How can we make them really want cloned meat? And then Eddie Bernays' nephew, who runs Netflix, goes, "Oh, I got an idea. Just don't put it on the label." Problem solved. Just don't put it on the label. Well, don't you have to put on the label? Yeah, you do, but we'll just we'll give the reptilian rent-seeking parasitic class some cash, and they'll just take the rule away. See, we don't have to. All these psyops, they're a waste of time. Just pay the reptilian rent-seeking parasitic class a little bit of gauche, and they'll just change the rules for you. So now they go into the supermarket, and it's there's no label. It's perfect. Whoa. See the subconscious dissonance in there? I couldn't even get the C. I had a C and a D, and a low D, which is even more dissonant. See what I mean? This is the unconscious playing out. That's right, Bruce Mai. They'll have it like a compassionate meat or something. It says it doesn't involve killing an animal. You like killing animals, right? You do? You're a savage beast. This is compassionate meat. Just like the suicide machines in Canada. So Canada is really a death cult as we move forward. one thing that really surprised me, but not really once the surprise wore off. You know, my sister, when she had her kids, she had doulas, right? It's kind of like a chaperone through the pregnancy process, right to the labor. Now they have death doulas. Well, what's a death doula? Pianomattyb. Well, a death doula, it's the opposite, right? Like I said before, of a pregnancy doula. They are your chaperone into the afterlife. You know, make you feel good, especially when you're not sure, like when you're old and, you know, the tickers, the old noodles kind of going on. You're not sure why you even signed up. She'll massage you into that little pod, into never land forever, and you'll feel pretty good. What psychopath becomes a death doula? Eat money, Jesus, let's lighten it up a bit. Well, you know, we're burning the channel down. You know, with Bitcoin at all-time retail interest low. What are we gonna do? We're gonna talk about Bitcoin as the price goes down for 3 years? Come on, I'd rather talk about death doulas than the price of Bitcoin, because this is what is frustrating. This is why it's a real bummer. See how I tie it into the thumbnail for all those trolls? Why you didn't even talk about the thumbnail? This is why it's a real bummer. It's because we did all this work to break out through a wick. This is a very unhealthy wick too. This is a complete rejection. Now it's not as high as 109. E-money death doula wasn't on my bingo card. Yeah, it was the kind of thing when I saw it, I thought it was a joke. Then you do a little more research and you're like, no, it's not a joke. Well, what kind of psycho does that? What are you doing these days, pianomattyb? I hear you burned your YouTube channel down. It's like, well, you know, I had an opportunity to become a death doula. You know, chaperoning these old people into the Netherlands. You know, very lucrative. It's completely subsidized by the Mark Carney government too. So anyway, we're sitting up here fighting. We're feeling real good. And then Asia smokes a big old joint, has a double shot of whiskey, and boom, sells it on us back to underneath this. I guess this was the bear flag, right? Where this should probably be red. Now we're back in and getting a little bit of support from the 20, maybe the 50. If it all breaks, like on 8:30 when the market opens, we'll see a little bit of volatility. I would expect a bounce at 103.2. Now, everyone will lose their shit because we're in the 103s, right? And then you always have to ask yourself, well, isn't this that 38.2% fib, pianomattyb, that we got to get up? Yeah, it is. I just don't have the eyeballs there. I don't know why. Where are the eyeballs? Anyway, I wouldn't say that was a rejection from it. It's a healthy rejection from 107.5, but it's still almost 2K away. Now, that's nothing. Like if we put it into percentages spot, we were, 1.69% away from the rejection zone. The dire rejection. So I thought we were going to blow past it last night with all the dad rules that were coming out. Government might be opening up, thank God. What would we do without those rent-seeking reptilian parasitic class? But now they're up and running, maybe? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Bitcoin will Bitcoin no matter what. It suffers from the ebb and flows of market sentiment, what's going on with the TARDFI legacy class. So it has a thing, but then again, it kind of does its own thing. It really sniffs out the rats in the kitchen. So long story short, I would expect a bounce at 103.2. Now, if we don't get a bounce from 103.2 and we break down into this channel of descension, well, it would make sense that we would probably fulfill this channel of descension support at 98K, which is held 3 times thanks to those Asians, right? They smoke joints and drink double whiskeys and sell, but they also buy at 8s, right? So I would be surprised if it got down to here, but not really. We seem to be putting in higher lows, right? This is generally bullish, but I would just like to, on a 4-hour noisy little so-and-so that nobody really cares about, I would get above here, right? That would make me feel a little more comfortable. Even better would be back. I guess we could do this. Let's change this bull flag, make it a little more represent it. It'll you know, it makes us feel a little better that we're still in a bull flag, right? We didn't crash out of the bull flag. Then I'll just take the line down. Problem solved. Now on the daily chart, rejection from the 20 moving average and the channel of eternal monotonies, support now acting as resistance. Now it looks a little dire here because here are the eyeballs, right? Those menacing little eyeballs, and it looks a little closer than it does on the 4-hour chart. You see this? Like, that's a lot of space. It's a 4-hour chart. Plus I've magnified it a bit. I can make it look a little more wholesome. Oh, there we go. We're not so far, but we actually are pretty close to it. Retroactively speaking, down the road somewhere, if we never get over 109, this will probably be that point that I've been talking about ad nauseum. Hopefully we bust through it. Now we have the 20 and the 50 and the 100 moving average or the 200 moving average, almost about to snake. And every time we see this snake back in, this year, essentially, this year of consolid ranging, usually there's an explosive move to the up or down. So I would like these to get a little more tight. You can see the 50 and once this 50 moving average, the purple line goes under the 200 moving average, every grifting YouTuber will be out there. The death cross is about to happen. Sell it all. Death cross. When really this is just a lagging indicator. I don't believe in death crosses or golden crosses. They just tell you what death cross is like. We've been bearish for a long time. No shit. Yeah. So we had a high and now we dropped, $25,000, right? You're going to get a death cross. But usually that's, to me, as a complete contrarian to absolutely everything, when I hear a death cross, I get a little excited. I think that we're kind of bottoming out, if it were. Now over on the Wookiee here, we're underneath our channel of ascension, which is the bull flag of this massive position, which is also the bull flag is also the cup and handle, right? So it is important to break out of this cup and handle to turn it into resistance now, or support. So if we don't really break out again, put in an all-time high, we won't really fulfill the pattern, and the pattern will now become resistance rather than, it'll come resistance support. We'll go under it and then we won't get back up. We don't want to do that. We want to bust out and get in there. And now for this week, there's that line right there. So it would be midway through the 38.2% rejection zone. This is like the 38.2 rejection zone in this analogy is like the death zone of Mount Everest. When you get there and if you don't have enough oxygen, you're not going to make it, right? That's the perfect analogy for this. If we don't get over it, you're going to be stuck in that death zone, and then the people are going to be calling you green boots for the next 100 years, unless they actually go and get rid of the bodies. Could there be a more macabre Tuesday live stream? I don't know. I don't think I've said the word DEATH so much in one live stream. Good morning. Let me take some coffee and switch it up. Storm Chaser video. Who? The former governor of New York. He jump-started the death duel in the nursing homes in 2020. I didn't know that. Interesting. Yeah, well, if you're not tuned in to the dark frequencies, right, you won't really even know. Most people would think that's a crazy lie or conspiracy theorist like everything else. Oh, it's got to be conspiracy, right? Turns out it's not. So there you go. Is that a job opportunity? Yeah, for unremarkable retards, right? So, I mean, think about it. All these jobs you see people doing, like the politicians, you just look at their, physiognomy, their face. It's like they can't do anything but be in public service, which is really, if you invert it, that's what it actually is. Not public service. It's service for themselves, right? That's how everything may. Once it's inverted like that, you're like, oh, okay, well, that makes total sense because the public service is definitely not. This is an interesting thing. Going on the lines of the dark frequency. Let's have a listen to this.
So the federal budget was released.
Speaking of unremarkable retards in public service.
Yesterday, and guess where Canadian taxpayer money is going? Actually, to be exact, $110 million is going to gender-sensitive water in 11 different countries.
Don't tell me you haven't heard of gender-sensitive water, E-Money. It's common knowledge up here in Canada. Gender-sensitive. Well, I would hate to drink gender insensitive water. That's just gross.
None of them are Canada. You guys, this is some messed up BS. And we need to take a page out of Italy's playbook, where they are on day seven of shutting down their economy. They have ground it to a stop. But that doesn't seem to be in the media, does it? Interesting.
It is interesting because I tend to mine the dark frequencies on a day-to-day basis on X, and I haven't seen it. In fact, my algorithm on X has flipped from things I like to things I disdain. So, for instance, it's all Canadian politics. I guess because I clicked on this. I clicked on this. It's like chicken or the egg. Like, well, how did this find my feed? Well, it's all Canadian bullshit now. So there must be something going on with the and woke retards. Is my whole feed is like that, but not in like, look how stupid these people are. It's their side, which is great because I like to see their side, because every now and then, hopefully, maybe I have a correction in my intellect. I'm like, oh, I had that wrong. I was wrong. Because I want to be wrong about it. Absolutely everything, I think. I'm hoping that there's some holes in my theories, and I am wrong. But the more you see it, it's almost like a different class of human beings. It becomes toddlers with toy phones walking around saying, there's someone on the phone, and then everyone's super. That's nice. Your first knee-jerk compassion is like, oh, let's see. Yeah, well, yeah, there's Santa Claus, right? And then they walk off, and then they start a group of friends, and they all have toy phones, and they're all telling each other what they're being told on their toy phones. And the next thing you know, they're in government. And they're gaslighting everyone. It's like, oh, you need to get a toy phone so you can hear what we're saying, understand it, because you're too stupid. You don't understand what these toy phones are saying. Anyway, this is getting out of hand here. Gender-sensitive water. I'm glad that $110 million. I mean, all you can do is laugh at this point, right? $110 million. Not even to Canada. Not that it would be any better that Canada was doing gender. Do you understand that in Canada, a lot of the reserves don't have running water or plumbing? We tend to think of these, maybe you do or you don't, that they're these like oasis off-grid cities where the indigenous live, but no, they're like worse than third world countries. No running water, and some of them are up north, so it's so effing cold there. And but thank God for gender sensitive water. Like, instead of putting water up to these reserves, let's get some on the double gender sensitive water to 11 miscellaneous countries. For sure, they're buddies of the unremarkable retards in the Carney operation. Matty B, what about those ostrich? Yeah. See, there's a weird trauma experiment going on here. Like, in the past year, we've seen so many trauma psyops, like, to really hammer down the dark frequency of planned helplessness, right? There's no more of a planned helplessness feeling than watching a government agency slaughter the ostriches and knowing full well it's going to happen. Well, we all kind of knew it was going to happen, right? It's not like I would never hedge on the benevolence of a government. I would always hedge with the dark aspect. You know, what's the worst they're going to do is probably what they're going to do. So we sat here and watched it, and it was dragged out for a long time, right? To really pull the planned helplessness. It's like, God damn it, we got to do something. What can we do? Nothing really. There's got to be something. No, there isn't really. You know, maybe it will be the tipping point, the line in the sand where that wakes people up. But I mean, how optimistic are you now that, you know, those toddlers with toy phones will ever wake up? Do you really think it will? Like, when I want to get optimistic, I like to think that eventually, if you just have normal conversations with these people, which I try, I know a lot of them at the squash club, right? I have these conversations just a little bit, just hacking away at their, you know, narrative that's being swirled around in their noodle, right? Just hacking away at it. Maybe we can come together, because that's really the massive fear here, is that this side and that side actually come together and go against, you know, the reptilian, rent-seeking, parasitic class, right? That's all we can hope for, but it really takes a lot of compromise and patience to put up with the other side, really, to get this done. That's why it's such a thing. But has anybody seen anything about Italy's pulling? Is that bullshit? Like, it's a little bit like cutting off your nose to spite your face, right? We always hear about that. We're doing no gas on Monday. Big deal. Like, it probably hurts for a second, but then everyone gets gas the next day, right? There's so much. It's a Gaza protest, says Dramola. Matt Grimes, I'm praying for all you Canadians. Well, this is what you have to keep in mind, Matt Grimes, is that civilization is in a car that has fallen off a cliff, and it's taking on water, and it's got that, you know, if you can see the scene where there's a little bit, we're underwater, right? The whole thing's underwater, but there's a little air bubble. United States nose is in the air bubble, right? And everything else is underwater, but that water is rising. So when you see something like this happening in Canada, you got to be prepared for it to work its way into the States. And when it does, I'm pretty confident that the standing army of gun owners will take care of this. Maybe, maybe not. And that's a part of the planned helplessness. And here's a funny thing. They're trying to arm all these retards that work for the government, right? Which makes sense. But I think this is where it turns on them. Cole's content. Sent 5 pianomattyb. Members shy. I don't think I've seen you on the stream. Cool content. Welcome to the dark side. Thank you for the 5 pianomattyb memberships. Cool content. I don't, unless you've changed your name and I don't recognize it, I don't think I've seen you on the morning stream, but welcome. Thanks for tuning in. So they're trying to give guns to, I was like, maybe I should get a job with some stupid government thing just to get a gun, right? Train me up with a gun, and then I'll infiltrate that mother effer, and I'll turn everyone against the government. Who said that? I didn't say that. Did you say that? But think about it. All these, I know people who work for the government. They are retards. So to put them with guns, the knowledge that they'll it's funny. It's like all those toddlers with toy phones. Well, now they have guns. Make sure you like and subscribe and share this